Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Way podcast. I'm Seth Amoa. I'm here with Kenny Jean-Louis, and today we're here with a big-time player from back in the day. You may have seen him play with the Diamond Ballers, Dawson, and went on to the States to do some good things. He's one of the best shooters to come out of Quebec, probably out of Canada. We'll get more into that in the interview. Please give it up for Marc Daniel Renelique.
Merci.
Was good.
Yeah, it was good. Merci d'avoir accepté. We're doing good. We're doing good. Thank you for accepting our invitation. A lot of people were always asking us, "Oh, you guys need to have you." So finally, we have you. So we're so happy. So the first question we always ask everyone is, when's the passion for basketball started for you?
Oh shoot! In my neighborhood in Saint Michel, I started to playing like in the back alleys. I had a neighbor his name was Shirley. They were three brothers. It was like Shirley, France, and Jean-Marc. And I kind of like I used to always go over there and watch them play. The whole neighborhood would come because we didn't have no playground beyond my house at that time. So we had one, but it was a little further out. So we used to play in that back alley, and I used to see all the OGs come through in the back alley. It felt like it was a big court, but now growing up, then when I go by, I'm like, man, we used to play in this little space. So they used to kind of let me play every now and then. Then I kind of fell in love with it. They moved to Ottawa. They moved on to Ottawa. Then after this, I was just like, they put the court behind my house, and they put Parc Verneau and all that stuff. And behind my house was like Ville, Parc des Villes, and I just like every day play, especially in the summertime. So blazing hot, I'll be out there and take Michael Jordan move, Isaiah Thomas move, and just work on it, Stephen Marbury, all that stuff. So,
Did you want to play like organized basketball when you were young, or were you just playing for fun?
I was playing for fun. I didn't play organized basketball probably until I was 13, 14. 13, 14. And after this, like, I realized that, man, I'm better than all these kids that's like playing organized basketball. It's just I had to get used to the competition part. My parents went to church a lot, so a lot of time, on weekends when people were having tournaments and events, and like even during the week, my parents was like 2-3 times a week going to church. So I didn't play ball as much, and my parents was not like, especially my dad was not big on basketball then until he saw like, okay, I'm starting to do something with basketball later on when I was like 16, 17. But like, but for the most part, I was like, I didn't play. I just play in the playground. Guys, then after this, guys would tell me, hey, come play, come do this tryout, and I show up, and that's how it started.
Okay.
We all know that you left Canada quickly, but can you talk a little bit about your experience, high school and elementary in Canada before I guess you left for the United States?
I mean, elementary, I went to a school in Rosemont in Saint Michel, kind of like it's called Saint Brendan, but at the time it was Ogilvy, but it was split in half. Like there was one in a different section and one in Rosemont. So they used to be together. Like they would have the first part of elementary that would be there. You had like the kindergarten and 4, 5, 6 grade there. Then the other school was 1, 2, 3. And they end up making the 1, 2, 3 school elementary like become a full school. So we end up staying there. So after this, I was just playing ball in gym class. That's what I knew. Then after this, kind of build up. Then we played in. I remember the first tournament I ever played in was a Denton tournament, an elementary tournament they had. That was like for graders, and I ended up playing when I was a 5th grader. And then I played the next year after, and I was like, okay, I could really play. So I ended up going to Robert Val and made the team, but my grades was terrible. So I got kicked out of school that year. I ended up going to TMR. Actually, that's the best that ever happened to me. I ended up getting kicked out, went to TMR. TMR was full of ballers. I mean, and we had a lot of guys that played for City Ball, like in Dawson, Sun Ute, who else? Parquet's a little bit when Parquet's first started. Then after this, one guy asked me, "Oh, you want to go play for Dawson?" I was like, "Where's that at?" Then he was like, "You're downtown." And I went to the trial, and I was like, "Oh, all right." It was like mostly English speaking guys and Jamaicans and stuff like that. I was probably one of the only Haitians who were there. And then after this, a whole bunch of Haitians followed me after that. Yeah. But the coach loved me. Rest in peace to Otis Lewis. Like, the coach loved me. You know what I mean? He died from cancer later on, but like, he loved me and he taught me a lot of stuff, man, on and off the court. So, was
it hard for you to, I guess, transition from street ball to organized ball at that age, or was it
a little bit? Because like when you work, and that's probably why I'm so driven by myself, because a lot of the learning I did early on was on my own. I mean, I would just watch TV and go in the park and work on certain things, or go on the sidewalk in front of my house, do in the backyard, do a lot of stuff. So when I got on the court, I was I'm individual. I'm an individual that learned a whole bunch of skill set by myself. So when I get incorporating that stuff, like you said, incorporating that stuff to a team concept was a little harder, because I'm like, yo, I could keep my guy in front of me every single time, because I worked on it by myself all the time. So I had to learn that over time. But it was a blessing for me to be able to nurture my skills by myself before I started playing, because now after that, my skill level was really, really high compared to other guys my age or older. So it was good, man.
I have a couple older brother who was telling me that you were Steph Curry before Steph Curry. So can you tell us how you develop your shot? Like, people were saying that you were shooting from half court, all those type of stuff. So how did you develop your shot?
I mean, I was just shooting all the time. But the funny thing is, when I was younger, like 15, 16, 17, like, I shot a lot, but I was a jumper. I could jump. You know what I mean? Like, so I used to dunk a lot and all that stuff. When I got hurt, a lot of the young kids, I don't know, how old are you right now?
We're 29 and 28.
29, so I'm like 6 years older. A lot of the guys that saw me after, that didn't see me before I tore my knee, like a whole bunch of times, the guys that saw me after, they saw more of a shooter, Mark, a little bit of driving, a little bit mid-range, all that stuff, shooting threes. But before that, I used to like steal the ball. Like, I remember I started dunking when I was 13. So it was like, after that, before that, I used to, at Dawson, I was like going reverse and dunking on people and stuff like that. Then later on, when I got hurt, when you tear your ACL, like, you got to stretch. You can't do a lot of contact stuff. My shooting got a lot better then. But I always had the feel for shooting. One of my biggest mentors, Jason, from at the time he was coaching Paget, keys to Paget. He taught me a lot of the discipline of like breaking down the shot. I remember I used to change my shot almost every 2 months. Like, I'll make it, but because I tell a lot of people, it's one thing to learn to shoot it, but it's another thing to have the mindset to shoot it. Because there's a lot of guys that could shoot probably like Steph Curry as far as like the pure form and all that stuff, but the mindset is not there. Like Steph Curry is fearless. So that's why, like, a lot of time growing up, and it's funny because growing up, a lot of people used to be like, Mark, you take bad shot. But the same way they'll say Mark take bad shot is the same way they'll say, like, man, Mark would hit a shot from half court. A half court shot is a bad shot to them. But to me, it's not a bad shot. I've been working my whole life on that. So it's the same. Yeah. I'm pretty sure y'all see that with Steph Curry a lot. Like, Steph Curry is like, he takes a lot of bad shot to us. But like, to him, it's like, yo, I'm a dog. Like, I've been working on myself, on my shot the whole time. So that's one thing I tell kids a lot is like, a bad shot varies from people to people. If you put the work in, you deserve that shot. And that's, over the years, I used to feel guilty sometimes when people used to tell me, yo, you taking a bad shot. And I'm like, yo, you know how long I've been in the gym? Your ass is not in the gym. You tell me I'm taking a bad shot. You know how long I've been in the gym? So now I take it real personal when I teach kids. Like, if you deserve it and you're doing that, your coach know you're putting the work in, take that shot. Don't ever shy away, because people out of their own insecurities, sometimes they tell you not to do certain things because they can't do it and they never work for it. So that's another. We could go on and on about that. But like,
well said, don't know, for real.
So, but that's one of the things, to come back to what you said earlier. If it was hard for me to integrate from working out myself, not playing organized ball, to playing team ball, that was one of the biggest challenges, because a lot of guys I was playing T-ball, they never work on their game, and I work on my game my whole life. So that's that. Just to talk about that part though.
But seeing a guy like Steph Curry right now, like you said, you work on it. Steph Curry worked on it. But now if you look at AU ball, if you go to a high school game, now everyone thinks that they are Steph Curry and they shoot from half court, but they didn't work on it. So would you say it kind of hurt the game or helped the game?
It's not Steph Curry's fault. It's not Steph Curry's fault. It's like when Michael Jordan was jumping over everybody and dunking. If you go on top of your bed and jump and break your arm, it's not his fault. He worked on that. So you know what I mean? Like we can't blame Steph Curry. I feel like a lot of it is like we gotta stop giving the facade of like Steph Curry making a shot. That's how we need to play the game. It's more like we gotta talk about the background of like how long Steph Curry been working on his shot. I think that's the thing that get lost a lot is that we see NBA guys like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, all these guys, and we think like, okay, these guys could do it. No, that stuff is hard. And that's why I love the clips when I see stuff like Steph Curry hitting 100 shots in a row. Like, can you do that? No, you know what I'm saying? Like if you can't do that, sit your butt down and don't shoot that shot. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those. Like, I think we put Ron under the rug. And we just show the result. We got to start showing to the kids the grind a little bit more. So that's my biggest thing with that.
Well said, for real. Well said. Now, you're one of the best shooters to play, and I know you played for Diamond Ballers. Can you talk about how that started or that happened, or how you started like with that team?
I mean, like with Diamond, I didn't play as much as the other guys. I play every now and then. I play more with like, because Diamond kind of came on later on. I used to play with, because Mannix is like my best friend. And I played with Mannix, and we had Platinum. We had certain guys from neighborhood, and they used to bring me along because I was always the 5 years younger than everybody else, or 2-3 years younger. So they brought me along. I used to go to the rec a lot. And that's kind of how I started. I always played with Mannix and all that. And we make a team at the time. I remember they started the Fun Police. That's how they used to call it, the Fun Police. I don't know if you remember the commercial with Lamar Odom and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They started that, and I used to just follow around and stuff like that. And my mentors, I was always around them. So every now and then they'll bring me in their tournaments and play ball. And every now and then, like when we played against Diamond Ballers the first year they were made together. It's like, I think it was a tournament. I came back from North Carolina. It was a tournament in Parkettes. We played them in the final. And that's kind of like, it kind of built up. And it's like Diamond kind of like did the guys from Laval. It was me and Mannix. And we kind of like later on, they kind of branched in. But after that, I got hurt a lot. And it's like, I was in the United States a lot. So I used to come back and see them play as a little bit. But like, as far as like all the guys, like I played a lot with a lot of the guys on Team Quebec in like 2000 and stuff like that. So that's why I think people always associate me with them.
Okay. You said, can I ask a question? You said you're always 5 years, you're 5 years younger than Mannix.
Yes.
So how did that friendship start? Because I like, especially like that's a big gap, like at that age. Yeah. So how did that start? Like, how did all that, and how did they accept you to one of the, like, one of the,
like my mentor Gerson is like best friend with all of Mannix brothers. Like Mannix brothers is like, it's the Stephon Marbury family. If you pay attention to Stephon Marbury and all them, they had like 3-4 brothers before him that played college ball. So Mannix is the youngest brother, and Mannix brothers all went to the state. I got a good relation. A lot of them, 2 of them right now are coaches at West Kentucky and LIU Brooklyn right now. So I talk to Ralph that's at LIU a lot. He's the oldest brother, but like Gerson used to be his best friend with them. So I used to always be around them. And Mannix stayed like right next to my house, probably 5-minute walking. But at the time, like I didn't get out as much. But when I started being around Gerson a lot, Gerson brought me along, and I used to tell me about stories about NC that went to Wisconsin, and Ralph went to St. Francis, St. Thomas More at one point, and Rudwins. So we ended up being best friends. And after this, me and the family, me, the mom, the dad, rest in peace to his dad, like we ended up being best friends. So I was always around. So after that, we used to always go to Paget. Then I used to always play there a lot. Like as far as like, then all of a sudden, like Jay brought me along, and we used to be us 3 in the gym. Sometimes we had a few other guys, and we would play one-on-one till like 1 a.m. So that's when Mannix, that's why I always say to this day, I say Mannix is the best player I ever played against, because ever since I played against Mannix my whole life, I played one-on-one, and Mannix whooping my butt. I've never met anybody in the United States that could do that to me. Never. Like I've never met a guy that's like, I'm like, this guy's better than Mannix. So I always felt like I could, if I play my best, I could always beat those guys. Where Mannix is like, man, sometimes I play my best and Mannix still beat me. So that it gave me so much confidence. So, but Mannix is from the block. Mannix is from like 5 minutes away from my house. The mom, know my mom, everybody, we all cool people. I know his sisters, everything. So that's what it was. But like the basketball, like Gerson is the reason, is the bridge that brought me close to the family.
Yeah, Mannix is a legend. And Gerson play at Wisconsin, right?
No, NC. Gerson was best friend with them.
Okay,
I mean, Gerson used to give me all the stories, but Gerson played with all his brothers growing up. We had a team named Outlaw. That's kind of like before Diamond and all them. It's like early 90s. They were named Outlaw. A lot of them went to the United States and all that stuff, and they did their thing, man.
Okay. And also, you mentioned Team Quebec. Can you talk about your experience at Team Quebec? You were the youngest guy, and you were playing, you were killing. So how was that experience?
Team Quebec was like, here's the thing with Team Quebec. In retrospect, I understand everything that happened. I mean, it was all good. The time of my life with Team Quebec was different because I had ambition, and Team Quebec was stuck into winning Canadian. Like, to be honest with you, I'm cool with winning nationals and all that stuff, but I was so wired to like, I'm trying to go to the league. I'm trying to go get a scholarship. I'm trying to do this. Like, I was so ambitious. So when I would spend my time during the summer and go to Team Quebec, and I'm the youngest one, it's hard to explain to a child that's 15, 16 years old, you're not going to play. And I've been playing my whole life. And it's like, because I'm younger, I didn't accept that as well because I was so driven. You know what I mean? And the good thing is that within those summers, I used to play with Kevin Boyle and AAU in New Jersey. And I played that summer. I remember I played with George Smith. We had like the whole starting five was like, we were big time. So, you know what I mean? Kevin Boyle is a legendary coach. He coached Ben Simmons, Embiid, Kyrie, everybody. Samuel Dallenberg went there. That's through that vehicle. Samuel Dallenberg went there. So it's like, they had like, I could probably name you 10 more guys like, what's the name that's in Minnesota that played for him too? He's at Mount Verde now in Florida, but I play for him during the summer. So my vision was so much bigger because I'm going to tournaments. I'm seeing coaches from North Carolina. I'm seeing Coach K. I'm like, yo, like we talking about Jeux du Canada. I'm like, oh, I'm over here. I was so much like, I was exposed to too much at an early age. So in class, Quebec experience as far as basketball, that's one of the left really early, aside from with my grades. You hear me?
Yeah.
You hear me? Yeah, with my grades, it was kind of like I had to leave also. But that's one of the reasons why I grew Montreal really, really fast, because I was always like watching stuff from across the border, what was going on. And I used to go play tournaments early age, 15, 16. So I'm like, yo, this guy's ranked number one. And I'm dropping 25, 27, 30 on them. And I'm like, oh, Sean Livingston, I'm over there dropping 20-something points. I'm like, hey, hold up. So, and those guys are like ranked top 15 in the country and all that stuff. And I'm the same age. I'm like, so, you know what I mean? I'm starting to get letters from Villanova, Seton Hall. Like, I'm starting to, so now Ohio State, I'm starting to go like, okay, I'm 15, 16. I ain't got time for this stuff right here. So I understood what it was about. But like, I remember, like, for instance, I always give that story, and that's the type of stuff that built me into teaching the kids the way I'm teaching it and making them understand the bigger purpose and approach. Is like, I remember we go to New Jersey with Quebec team, and it's like Seton Hall. We staying on this campus of Seton Hall, but the coach from Seton Hall at the time, and when the assistant wanted me to work out for them, and Team Quebec is saying, they told the coach over there, like, he can't make it. We got a team function where we're gonna go shop. I'm like, yo, Like, come on, man, what are you talking about? Like, go get this workout. That stuff blew my mind because I was like, yo, what's going on? But it was the bigger picture. Like, it was, I didn't get that. To this day, I don't get that because me coaching now, that kid is going to that workout. Forget that. Because you know what I mean? Like, it's the mentality sometimes. So it's all good though. No. You live and you learn.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And when did you decide to go to the States, and how was the transition from Canada to the States?
To me, it was smoother than maybe others because I used to go every summer in and out. So I kind of like prepared myself. And I used to tell my mom since I was 14, 15, hey, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Like, and my mom used to take it as a joke until she saw like people coming at the house and, hey, your son is gonna be going to this, all that. Then she accepted it because my mom supported me to the fullest as far as like me going for my dream. Mm-hmm. Like she didn't understand it because she don't know basketball as much, but she supported me 100%. But the transition over there, like the basketball part, like I said, is because I was playing the summers before, so I was kind of adjusting to the mentality. I remember first going though, like it used to be like I always put that in my mind. Like I went to a workout and I'm dribbling in Montreal. I didn't feel nobody could talk to me my age as far as like me handling the ball and you ain't got no ball handling besides like the Manics, the old guys that were older. So I go over there, I start doing like bring the ball up, and the guy said, "Suspect." And I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, are you serious? Then I went back to the crib. I work on my ball handling 10 times more. It was already kind of decent. It was already kind of good, but I work on it 10 times more because I'm in the East Coast. I'm in New York, New Jersey, and these guys saying suspect. So I came back. My ball handling is tight. So now it's like, guys like, now I'm like, because I used to always put in my mind, like, put that stuff on target in my back. Like, I'm from Canada. These guys think I can't play. Like, you know what I mean? Competitors from New York, guys are like that in the States. Like, they'll test you until you bust their butt and, okay, this guy could play. And they'll leave you alone. And now all of a sudden they want to be your friend. So I kind of noticed that. But I used to always get a kick out of killing Americans. I loved it because I was like, you're going to respect us. And now I love it now because now it's like a lot of people, when I'm in the United States, they say, this kid from Canada, this kid from, because they think kids from Toronto live 2 minutes away from us sometimes. This kid is nice, man. Or they be like, this, like, for instance, Lugens is nice. And I'm like, yeah, Lugens could go, man. Like, but we've been having guys like this for a long time in the city. It's just like guys were not getting seen. So every now and then you'll see one pop up, but it's like 3, 4, 5 in the hood not doing anything because somebody made them believe that they're not good enough. You know what I mean? I refuse to have that mentality.
Okay. Do you think like hanging around with Jason and like Mannix, all of them gave you that mentality, or did you have that mentality from before that?
Because I used to paint a picture talking to them in NC, and I mean NC is another person that did a lot for me in my lifetime. Is like I used to listen to their stories and kind of put it into my life and kind of like, yo, I went to the United States, this guy was doing that, and I put myself in their shoes. And I kind of visualize. That's why I'm huge on, like, I believe in working out, but this part right here, your brain, like that's why I could still, like, I'm 36 right now. I could still play with them younger boys of my brain because I could visualize me busting your ass. You know what I mean? So if I could visualize, I could do it. So, but a lot of kids sometimes they wait till they get to the situation and they're trying to react to it. You're already late. You even visualize that opportunity. So I always did that until this day. Like until I could run and jump a little bit and stay in shape a little bit, I always feel like I got that edge. And I see a lot of kids don't do that now. Like and that edge, like I said, like it's me talking to the OGs that went through it a little bit. And I incorporate those stories into my vision, and it's takeoff from there. So, and I still do it to this day. Like I still do it to this day.
And what you think about the kids right now? Like I feel like you don't see a lot of kids playing in the park. Like now you're a trainer. Would you say it's better to play at the park, don't train? It's better to train and don't play at the park because of your knees, or like what would you say?
Man, that stuff is played out. I used to dunk with my knees like I ain't feel nothing. When you're hungry, you don't feel that stuff. The stuff I would say, like, I'm a trainer. Now, I don't even like to call myself a trainer. I'm a mentor. I like to, you know what I mean? I'm an OG. I don't like that, all that coaching and stuff, training stuff. I like to just use it. I'm just a basketball passionate, you know what I mean? But anyway, like the thing I would say, if you had one choice, I would say play. I didn't start grooming my game until I was like probably 15, 16. I already had a good foundation. I had nurtured a good foundation with working on my game by myself. So I had that foundation. But the playing part is what took it next level for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, like with Gelson, that used to play. He was younger. He was hungry. Mannix was there. I used to play a lot. So that's where I got my edge competitive wise. That's how I like to this day, I'll do training every now and then when I see like, okay, we got 6 kids, we got 7 kids. Okay, I put my sweatpants down. I'll be like, we're going 4-on-4. I mean, I remember even at Parquets, like with Nelson, another like shout out to Nelson. Like Nelson helped me a lot in the journey as far as like transitioning from my playing to training a lot. But when I was in Montreal for a year and I started to train with the Lugans, that group of Lugans, Sean Barthélemy and some of Blondeau, all these kids. And the thing I used to do every now and then, I'd be like, yo, let's play 4-on-4, 4 corners. Let's play dribble, drive, kick out, set screens, pick and roll, all that stuff. And we noticed that a lot of the kids got better around that time. Like Lugans, now I'm looking at Lugans, it's like I'm so proud of him because he's doing a lot of the stuff, man. Like, and he always was competitive. And you cannot get competitive just working out. You got to play. Yeah. You got to play. And that's the one thing I always say. I see a lot of kids training and I'm like, you see they train, but you like, can you do it in the game? If you could do it in the game, then you train. It's like you just sharpening your tools. Mm-hmm. But if you just work out, you just become a robot that just know how to do two dribble dribbling and shooting over your head. You'd be surprised. Like people that can't even play basketball could get in the gym. If you do it long enough, you could probably dribble and have a ball spin in your head. Like, yeah. But you get in the game, you give him one basketball, and you say, let's go. And I see a lot sometimes, like, I tell the kids, okay, let's go. 4-on-4, let's go. Boom, I bounce the ball and say, let's go. And then all of them looking at me like, what we supposed to do? I'm like, yo, we supposed to play basketball. Let's go. It's just like, it's easy work, but it's just a lot of kids now because of the time we live in is like, kids don't play as much. They don't play as much. You just go to practice, go home. You got to do both. I'll encourage to play a lot and then then work out and sharpen your skills that you feel that, okay, I could have did this better. So let me shoot better. Let me dribble better. It works together though.
Okay. So how was your time in the States when you first went? Like when you first went, you said you were able to keep up with the guys because for sure you've been going there in the summer. So how was it like when you officially went there to stay there and to like, play ball?
It was cool. Because, I Montreal, like we slick. I don't know how it is now, but Montreal, we always look at New York. We always look at the United States, and we kind of like follow the swag a little bit, follow everything from. It's not even about basketball. Follow the swag, how we dress. New York, everybody from Montreal, we always went New York City to go shop and came back and get ready for school. So we always had that kind of like, okay, that flavor. So when I went to the States, it was like, okay, now I'm in it full time. You know what I mean? So now all I did is like, the basketball helped merge a lot of those relationships that maybe like without basketball, it would have been harder to deal with that change. But with basketball, it's easier to kind of like blend with your teammates, blend with the community, blend with everything, and it move on from there. Like from transition from high school, college, and look, I'm still here. So something was happening right as far as like my transition in the United States. So it was all good. Just like the thing was like when I was coming back, it's like I had to go back and forth. It was like it was a little change, but it was all good, man. It was all good.
And can you talk a little bit about your recruitment, like why you decide to go to the D1 school that you decide to? I guess you end up at.
A lot of schools, the schools that I went to, were after the fact that I got hurt. Like when I was before I hurt my knee, I was getting a lot of schools. I was getting a lot of looks. I was playing AAU. I was about to blossom that summer, all that stuff. Then I tore my knee. Then after this, when you tear your knees, like schools kind of take a step back and watch you from a distance. So they're being like, okay, pull. After this, I'm trying to get back. I went to Wisconsin almost 2 years, worked out with NC, stayed with him, and learned the game on and off the court. So learned the game, and after this is like I had to take what I had left because those schools are not coming back knocking at the door, because that's the thing people don't understand with recruiting. It's a never-ending thing. I tell kids all the time, you get recruited by UConn today, tomorrow you got a kid, they come see you, and you got a kid that busts your butt at the same position. They forget about you, they go recruit that kid. So now can you imagine tearing your knee up, your ACL, and you're out for a year? So now it's like, that cycle is like you it's almost like if you were in the front of the line, now you go in the back of the line, to work your way back. So I did that, and I mean I had a coach that almost saved my life. Also, Coach Jones gave me a scholarship when I tore my knee in JUCO. I tore my knee again because I tore my knee probably like 5 times. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of times. So when I was in JUCO, he found out I tore my knee, and I told him, and he was like, "Yo, I still give you the scholarship, just get right." But when I went there, when by the time I was getting ready to get there, he got fired. So when he got fired, I show up. I play for a new coach. New coach got his own players, got his agenda and all that stuff. So I saw the writing on the wall. Left and went to Northern Michigan, a school that's why one thing I always tell kids is like, when a school recruits you, you could be UConn. I don't care. You could be Duke. If a Division II recruits you, Concordia recruits you, anybody that recruits you, always show respect, because you never know what could happen at Duke. You never know what could happen within that time. So if, let's say, something happened, you tear your knee, something happened, because you show respect, the school might still be like, you know what, come on. And that's what happened at Northern Michigan. That school recruited me when I was down, and I was like, man, I got Louisville. I just talked to the assistant from Louisville. Like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going there, but I still show respect. I still was like, I took the visit, was cool, and I knew a lot of guys that played there. So at the time, Coach Ellis gave me another shot, and I played 2 years, and that ended up being a blessing. I got my basketball swag back a little bit, and went overseas after that. I had 2 good years, then went overseas after that.
You're talking about your injury. That's crazy. So you said you tore your knee about 5 times.
The first time I tore it, I was at St. Patrick's in New Jersey, and I went up, passed the ball. The guy scored. I'm looking at him. The guy, the 6'11" guy. He's an assistant coach now at Seton now. He fell on my knee, and I fell a pop. I was like, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? Like, so that happened. I came back from my ACL. Came back really fast with little guidance. And it's kind of like I tore it again because I came back too soon. And after this, like, I had infections and a whole bunch of stuff. So they had to go back in my knee. Like, it was on and off. Then when I went to JUCO, tore it again. It's like, I was like, oh, it was never ending. That's why, like, my knee injuries took 3 years, maybe 4 years out of my life, basketball life. In my mind, to this day, I always say, like, I would have been closer to what I wanted to do as far as the NBA and stuff like that, because I saw a lot of guys go to the NBA, and I'm like, yo, I used to play against him, and I used to do work. So it's like, you take away 4 years of my life. Like, I mean, I still made the best out of it. I mean, I persevered because that was my dream, but no doubt that stuff took a lot out of my life, man.
Did you ever think? Sorry, did you ever think of like quitting, or did I ever cross your mind?
Never. That was like never. The doctor, my wife is my witness. The doctor that did my last surgery on my right knee told me, "You're never gonna play basketball again." And because I ended up having a big staph infection, and I was on IV for a month. It took all my surgery out, put it out. Then after this, he said, I ain't had no ACL. He said, for a month, he said, yo, you're not going to play basketball anymore. Then I begged him. When I came back, we flushed out the infection. Then he said, okay, I told him, yo, please, that's my only way to get an education, all that stuff. So he was like, okay, I'm going to try one last time. No guarantees. He said, you're going to have arthritis like a mug, like when you get older. And I was like, all right. I didn't care at the time. And we did the surgery. And I remember that's probably the most I ever put my life into, like, as far as like getting back. I remember I used to do things that I look at now, like now that's why it's easy now for me to go to the gym and get to elliptical and do an hour. I used to do that because when you got that stretch when you can't run, you can't jump. So they tell you just do bike and stuff like that. I remember I used to do an hour bike, hour elliptical, do squat, go back 2-3 times a day, come back. And I remember when I came back to the doctor 3 months later, he checked my knee and he said, yo, what's going on? And I'm looking at him like, damn, please don't tell me I tore my knee again. He said, no, it's super strong. Like, what you been doing? I said, I've been going crazy. You know what I mean? And after this, okay, I ended up kind of like, I was able to kind of get a second life to my basketball career and kind of make it work to be able to get something out of the game anyway. You know what I mean? I was still able to get something out of the game. It's not necessarily what I wanted. I do got regrets every now and then with my knees because I'm like, it's something I can control. But you know what I mean? Like I'm able to teach more kids now with my experiences of persevering, all that stuff. So
nice. That's what's up. How was your experience playing with Ricky Volsi? I think you played 1 year JUCO with him.
No, I didn't play with Ricky. I played with Ricky. I went to the same prep school with Ricky.
Yeah, prep school.
My second year, that's the year I was hurt. I didn't play. And I came back late at the end of the summer, at the end of the year, and I tore my knee. Ricky was there when I tore my knee my second time.
So you never played with him?
No, I played Ricky with Quebec team. I was in the same school for a year with him at Laurinburg in North Carolina. When I went to Northern Michigan, I think he had graduated the year before. So we always kind of like almost played together, but we didn't play together. We only played together at Quebec team. Because Ricky too. Ricky's probably like 2 years older than me also. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. Okay, so and how was that your time at Northern Michigan?
My time was straight. It was like it was a situation where we had a lot of guys from Montreal. We had like 3-4 guys from Montreal, 4 guys from Montreal. Yeah. And it's like it was kind of like my time in Northern Michigan. It was kind of getting back to my old self a little bit. My third year, my junior year over there, I was able to do a lot of stuff, get back a little bit, but I wasn't fully myself yet. Then my senior year, I worked the whole summer. My senior year, I had a real good year. You know what I mean? Like, it could have went better as a team, but you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You take it and you move on. You live and you learn, man.
Yeah.
And how was your experience playing overseas? I know you played 3 years overseas.
Yeah, 3 years. I played 3.5 years. I played in Canada for 1 year. I played one of the years overlap. I played in Canada and then Morocco. Then this year I played in Kuwait. Then the year before that I played in Morocco. So I played Kuwait, Morocco, Canada, and Morocco. You know what I mean? But like it was straight. I liked the Kuwait. I liked the Morocco a lot. Morocco was like it's French speaking, so I mean like it was fun. I remember like one of my good friends Adil played at UQAM. He played at Montmorency before that, but like he was there. I mean, he played for a team where Adil was one of the best players in that country. He stopped now, but like he was one of the best players in that country. He played for the national team. So I mean, I saw a lot of guys. You'd be surprised with what you see over there. Like I remember, I'm in Arkansas. I saw guys that live in Little Rock, Arkansas. Like I mean, it was the same grind. It's like it's different. I mean, in Morocco, you could go over there sometime and you drop 35, and the owner saying if you don't win next game, you go home. So it was a lot of expectation. It was fun. Looking back at the time, sometimes it could be stressful because you're over there and it's like you're doing everything you can, but it's like you don't win, you go home, and it's like we all know it's supposed to be a team game.
Yeah.
But they'll put everything on the import. Kuwait was kind of like that also. Kuwait was a little bit like a more of a them oil countries that got money and stuff like that. I mean, so it was like that. So, but it was fun though. Canada, I played a little bit, but not much in Canada though.
Okay. So when you decide to, I guess, what made you decide to start coach, not giving back to the community, kids and stuff? What made you want to do that?
The business of basketball. I always had the passion to like train because I came from that background.
Mm-hmm.
But the passion of basketball, like the passion of training, came naturally to me. But like the business of basketball, kind of like sometimes you gotta wait on your agent for like till January. To get a contract. But from September to January, you don't have no money. If you're training hard, you don't have no money, you don't have no nothing. So it's kind of like, like it comes like, okay, now I gotta earn some money. So at the same time, I start doing it on the side. I remember one year, I'm training kids, I'm training myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm agent called me, yo, come tomorrow. But I'm getting the call by like today, and the next day I'm already got the flight and I'm going. So it's just so unpredictable in a good way and a bad way also, because you could stay home the whole year and not get a contract. That's why people say, oh, I want to play overseas. I say it's not that simple, especially now. It's almost like I feel like I stepped out at the perfect time, because especially now, especially with COVID, with a whole bunch of situations, it's like it's tougher and tougher. Mm. It's tougher and that's the thing. Every year there's younger guys coming in that just graduated from college. So it's like it's a business that's kind of like it's rough. Can I still play? Probably I still have people say every now and then that will call and offer you money that's like, yo, you can make that money working at McDonald's, man. Like, but sometimes that's what it is. Yeah. I mean, I tell people like at a younger age, maybe I'll take those contracts. Now it's like I'm not gonna take that. You know what I mean? Because it don't make sense. I got 2 kids and stuff like that. But as far as the playing aspect, it was like, I mean, it didn't make sense anymore as far as me leaving at 30, 31 and going over there and I'm not earning a living. And it's like, I had to set up my life for the next 10, 15, 20, 40 years. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
It's a turnaround that everybody got to go through though.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the program that you're running right now?
It's my program is Reach for the Stars Basketball Academy. Started it 6 years ago. This February was 6 years I started it. It's just in the area. I saw a lot of people that at first it's kind of, I had the idea when I was with Nelson in Montreal. I was like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna do that because I was helping with his program and he said I'm really good at that. So I was like, okay, I might as well. I already had that in mind. Even when I went to school, I kind of took my major, recreation major, to kind of like fall into that realm a little bit and be able to do that. And when I started it here, the demand was there, so I was able to do it. It started word of mouth. Then after this, it grew. And people around here saw me play a little bit. Some people saw me play. Some people saw my background a little bit of playing ball, college and overseas, so it helped. But after this, I had to put in the work as far as training kids and getting them better. And now, I mean, I'm glad to say, like, I mean, a lot of the kids that I train, they're doing okay. They're doing pretty good. For the consistent ones, they're doing pretty good.
Okay. Do you ever think you'll come back to Montreal and probably run the program here, or?
I mean, like I did some with Watson at Sick. I kind of came back not last summer. It was COVID summer. The summer before that, kind of came back. We were supposed to do it this summer, but like COVID was like crazy. It's crazy. I feel bad for everybody in Montreal, by the way. Crazy.
Yeah.
But like I came back. We did a little thing at this help training guys and stuff like that. I mean, like I'm always hoping for stuff that's gonna make sense. I mean, obviously now with COVID, we don't know when we'll be able to do stuff again. We got stuff lined up, but obviously, like when I come in Montreal, I mean that's definitely a plan. Like I like to see guys from the city do well and stuff like that. So it's definitely something I would love to do in the near future, like partnership with somebody and do something nice in the city.
Okay.
My last question before we play the game: what would be one advice would you tell a kid from Montreal, or just a kid in general who's, I don't know, 12, 13, 14? What would be a advice would you give them?
Don't ever listen to people that put limitation on you. Like I remember growing up, I used to talk about like, you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to talk to people OG sometime, and I'd be like, "Yo, I'm gonna make it to the NBA and stuff like that." And they used to be like, "Yo, you know how hard it is to make it to the NBA," and that stuff used to like other kids would discourage them, but me, I was so driven. I was like, "Yo, what are you talking about? Like, what kind of stuff is that?" I like it used to bug my mind, like because I'm like, "Yo," instead of saying, "Yo, you could do whatever you want to do," they would say that, and the Montreal mentality now is like, I hope it's better now because we've seen people make it. But back then, it used to be like that a lot. It's kind of like coaches would talk to you like that in that fashion. Now, like, "Yo, what's wrong with y'all?" I mean, but I always had that mindset to this day, like, "Yo," I mean, like, don't ever let people put limitation on you. As long as you're gonna put the work in and work your very hardest to be the best you could be. Don't ever let nobody put limitation on you. Now, I mean, like, be realistic, but at the same time, dream the biggest you could ever dream and work the hardest you could ever. Your work ethic got to match your dream. It actually got to exceed it. Your work ethic got to exceed your dream. So that's why I would say just keep putting the work in, put the work in, and then you'll be straight.
That's what's up. You hear? Oh yeah. And my last question is, what do you think of Quebec basketball right now? If you follow a bit, how do you think it is now compared to what was before? What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's the same thing. It's just now social media did something different. Social media added like visibility to the city. That's what it is. But as far as talent, I don't want to OG that say, "Oh," the older guy that say, "Yo, man, we used to have better hoopers," but back then we had a lot of hoopers. It's just like people just you know what I mean? Because I always tell kids that nowadays, I'm like, man, and it's not even to brag. It's like, I'm like, man, put my years when I was 14, 15, 16 in the city playing at Dawson Community and do a highlight tape. And you see like, yo, you'd be like, "Oh man, this 2023 guy is nice." Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's 2025. Like, oh man, like they will go crazy. But we didn't even have that. Now it's like I could go watch a kid's game, which I do every now and then. I could watch a kid's game, take a few clips, and you're like, "Oh man, this kid did this." Yeah. I could put it in the social media today, and everybody know about that kid.
Yeah.
Where back then it's kind of like, yo, I felt like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, look, like y'all coming to interview me now. I'm 36 years old. That's of people saying memories, like stuff like word of mouth. Like there's nothing really that you could actually go to and be like, "Yo, Marc Renelique." Some people did with their little cameras back then, but that wasn't the move. People didn't do that. So you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine, like, you know what I mean? You could go and be like, "Yo, Marc Renelique, 14, 15, 16," and you're like, "Damn, Marc used to do that 14, 15, 16." But put that in the present, like this kid is doing that at 14. Now it's like instant. It's instant. Like then we had to run a little harder to get just seen. So you know what I mean? Like that's why a lot of guys from eras before me, they went to smaller schools because they didn't get visibility. Yeah. If they were playing today, they'd probably go to Duke. Yeah. I mean, out of Montreal. But now, but I mean, I remember the program that was doing that a lot back then was Champlain with Peter Yano. Shout out to my guy. Now, I mean, Champlain used to be like putting that stuff out there, like, "Yo, we got players." So that's when we first heard like Michigan State coming in Montreal, Gonzaga, like, you know what I mean? Like back then it was like, "What? No, ain't nobody coming." I mean, ain't nobody coming in Montreal. Like, you know what I mean? Like you get them upstate schools like them New Hampshire and them upstate schools come to Montreal, but you wouldn't in Siena, you wouldn't get the Syracuse coming to Montreal, but it wasn't like that. So now the visibility is better. It's good for the city, but I would say like the kids got to keep working. The talent has always been there. Yeah. I agree with that, for real.
Yeah, that's true. So we're just gonna play the game real quick. Can you name me your top 5 best player that you played with, like from point guard to center? 5 best player that you played with.
Point guard Mannix. Dang, that's hard. That's a tough question. Let me break it down like this. I'm gonna say point guard / shooting guard Mannix. Point guard NC Oriental. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be a homer on this one. 3 as a 3. I'm gonna say Ralph Oriental. That's the brother also.
Yeah.
Who else I play with? Center. I don't know too many centers, but Jonas got to be my guy, Jonas Pierre.
Okay.
I got to put him in there because like I don't know a lot of centers. I like Ricky. I would put Ricky at the 4. You know what I mean? Like Jonas at the 5, Ralph at the 3, Manny's at the 2. He's a 1-2, but like I'll put him at the 2 if I'm not playing. If I'm not playing, Manny's at the 1, and somebody else coming off the bench. But like NC at the 1 because those are all guys that I looked up to. Like Jay's on the bench with me, like we cheering, and I mean, like we waiting to get in the game too, man. Okay. Those are my guys, though. Those are my guys. Those are guys that I looked up to that game.
Yeah. Okay. So my game is called Start, Bench, Cut. I'll give you 3 scenarios. You gotta start 1, bench 1, cut 1. The first one is playing with those guys in Montreal. So the guys you grew up with, you learned the knowledge from playing with them. The second one is going to the States and playing in the summer before you actually moved there, before you left. So going back and forth in the summer, playing with those guys there. And the third one is what you're doing right now, giving back to the kids and training them. You got to start 1, bench 1, cut 1.
I'll go. You almost said it in order. You said it in order because yeah, you did because if I don't grow up playing with the guys and growing up, I grew up with Jay and Mannix and all these guys. I don't get to 2 going to the States. That stuff is not even happening. And 3 is like, what was the third one again?
Right now, what you're doing right now.
Yeah, that don't happen.
Yeah.
That it's in perfect sequence as far as like me getting the game from the OGs. In the middle one, me expending that vision that I had in the game that I got from the OGs and all that stuff. And after this, like me sharing the jewels that the OGs gave me that I was able to experience myself, then I'm able to give back. So it's in perfect order that way.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Kenny?
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right, man. So listen, Marc Daniel, thank you for coming on here, man. I know we've gone back and forth to find a schedule, and we finally did it.
Good.
You know, and for sure, like Kenny was saying, like you've definitely helped pave the way. Like you were saying before, right? Like, yeah, social media kind of opened doors for kids now to get exposed, but it's because of guys like you and during your time that made those doors open, you know, and allowed like players now to be where they are. Because those players, whether they like it or not, it's because of you guys. They have the opportunity to go down there and do what they're doing, you know, because you guys went there before and, you know, killed it. And so that's why I'd like to thank you for, you know, doing what you've done. You know, you've definitely paved the way for, you know, Quebec basketball, if you know it or you don't. And just thank you for being on here, man, sharing your story, man.
Appreciate it, my guys, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Love.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like we just need you back in Canada. All that knowledge.
Yeah, man.
We need that back in Canada. So I don't know how long you're gonna stay in the States, but we need that in Montreal.
Canada start putting some money in basketball, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Money in basketball. It's like volunteering now. Like, come on, man. Like that's one of the things. Actually, coming to one of your questions, that's one of the things that needs to change is the money, man. Like they gotta put money to help the people that got the knowledge teach. Guys ain't gonna like to teach the game. It takes time. Yeah. Time is money. You know what I mean? Like so. I hate to say it, like it's that's what it is. They gotta expand. They gotta start. They do it for hockey. They do it for basketball. Like you seen that a lot of guys from the city is making it. You seen that a lot of guys getting scholarship. Now start spending the money. Start putting the money out so guys will be more in tune. Because there's a lot of guys that's got the knowledge. They won't even teach it because they're like, yo, I got a job. I got 3 kids. I ain't about to do that. Like I gotta feed my kids. So where in the United States is a little different. You can kind of sneak in and coaching and all that stuff, and all of a sudden you're making a living after your playing days. So that's something that is something that needs to change in Canada and Montreal.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. No,
You're
I
right.
agree with that. Yeah. So thank you, man. And to everyone listening, don't forget to subscribe. Once again, I'm Seth Moore. I'm here with Kenny Jean-Louis, and stay tuned for our next episode.